You better duck when I show up. The Goo Goo Man.
The Cramps were a psychobilly band from New York. They existed from 1976 to 2009. Initially, they were part of the New York punk scene, including bands like the Ramones. They were formed and led by a husband and wife team going by the stage names of Lux Interior and Poison Ivy. Lux Interior was the vocalist and Poison Ivy was the guitarist. They had a quite a turnover of other members, and during their existence, they released 8 studio albums. And they stopped in 2009 because Lux Interior sadly died. Hi, my name's Dan, and I've got my hood up on my hoodie, not because I'm a member of a secret society, but because my head's feeling a bit cold. So this was the second studio album by the Cramps, and it's my first listen to it. I might have heard 1 or 2 tracks off this album before, I'm not sure. I don't particularly remember. So apparently this is Psychobilly, and I think that's actually a really good name for this genre of music. So really it's kind of a cross between punk and rockabilly, and those two styles of music have always had a bit of an overlap in the States particularly. And this is all done then with comic horror themes. Think 1950s horror B movies, The Blob and stuff like that. So on the album there are 7 covers. That's not album covers, that's song covers, and 7 originals, so that's 14 songs in total. And the covers include Green Door, which I know a version of that done by a British rock and roller from the 80s called Shaking Stevens, and Goo Goo Muck, which I'm sure I've heard before, which I really enjoy as a song. The originals are less conventionally structured than the covers, and they feel a bit more freeform, and they have a tendency towards discordant guitar, playing kind of interesting stuff. And as I said, the words don't tend to go kind of verse, chorus. They're a bit more of a kind of release of a rant almost at times. The instruments involved are 2 guitars and drums, so they don't have bass, although one of the guitars at points they're playing the low notes. I don't know if they detuned to get a lower sound. It's possible. And there's quite a lot of this low twangy guitar sound, which kind of has hints of the surf sound from back in the 60s. That kind of guitar. The vocal delivery is quite interesting. There's it's kind of a mixture between singing and talking. So some people will know this reference. It reminds me of a song called something like Want to Be a Dentist from the Little Shop of Horrors, and Steve Martin's rendition of that in the film. With this tends to go, oh yeah, and kind of moving around. It's quite idiosyncratic. It reminded me vaguely of other things, like a little bit of hint of B-52s maybe, other people like that. So overall I found it quite entertaining, actually. It's not musically sophisticated. There is a coherent sound to it, and it's this kind of idea of the rockabilly horror thing. They've made it work really well. So the concept is good. Lux is singing is quite flamboyant, and he carries it off. If he wasn't as kind of larger than life as he is on the album, it would fall flat, but it doesn't. I bet they were a really good live band, and if anybody's seen them live, please do drop a comment in the comments box. So I quite enjoyed this album. And as always, at this point, I want to invite you to tell me what you think. So please do talk to me through the comments box. I read all comments, and that's it from me for now.
The night came down, the sky turned black, the jungle drum beat, the native